Hey guys, welcome to Gabe's Reef. And today, basically, I wanted to do a little bit of water testing, and I'm pretty excited that my bubble tip anemone kind of came out. I tried moving him the other day. He was in this lower corner about right here. And I don't know why I put him there, but I put him there. He seemed okay, and then I tried to move him right up here to the very top so the clownfish will notice him. And basically, he got really upset about that. He started moving on his own around. He went completely around the bottom of that rock, all the way up and around, and then back down this way. And then he stopped there. That's a good place. It seems like he's getting flow there. He's obviously getting light. I'm actually really impressed with my turbo snails. This is easily blown off and is easy to brush off or clean. I got a little bit of green algae right there, which I'm going to take care of with my first water change. But basically, I kind of let it get like this just for the cleanup crew to have something to eat and something basically to do. I am going to actually clean it pretty thoroughly. I do have algae wafers, so I'm not too worried about if they eat all the algae or if all the algae's gone. I'll have algae wafers. They eat the leftover shrimp. They eat leftover flakes. Pretty much anything I feed the tank, or pretty much anything in the tank. There's also tiger pods in there, so hopefully there's enough nutrition and food for them. My clownfish honestly have not found an area to host at all. Like, they kind of sleep on that back wall towards the power head, but I was hoping they would notice the bubble tip anemone and kind of host it. They seen it a few times. They kind of swam around it, kind of looked at it, but then that was, I think, the end of it. I'm hoping maybe because it's small is what it is. Maybe it's too small. I'm hoping here in the next few weeks they notice it. I am going to get maybe another style of anemone, maybe a rose or something like that. I don't know yet. I know they're really hostile. The rose ones will sting a lot of your corals. I do plan on buying coral frags in the next day or so. I'm gonna have some, mainly probably SPSs or LPSs. I don't know which one I'm gonna do yet, but I'm gonna have a few, couple of different kinds. Basically, I'm gonna start out with 5 frags. I'm gonna check the water with you guys today and kind of show you how I check the water and check everything, make sure everything is good. Evaporation does happen in this tank due to the temperature. I have it running between 77 and 79. Wow, that bandit shrimp really looks cool in this shot. It looks a little weird right now because that's like a corner of the tank. It's like kind of showing a double picture, like split. So I thought this was kind of a cool shot. You can see the dragonette there hunting, looking for tiger pods. I did dump 2 bottles in there. Hopefully, they start reproducing soon and he has a steady supply of them. I'm probably going to keep another one on hand to be safe. I know some people turn off, when my lights go out, you can use like a little flashlight or something and see how many there are. That's what I need to do. Make sure, because I know they can eat a lot of them. They can eat anywhere from 100 to like 500 for a big one a day. So, if a bottle comes with 250 to 2,500, and I put 2 bottles in there, best case scenario, I have 2,000 to 5,000 tiger pods, and hopefully a lot of them were females. I know some of them can be dead or older ones and end of their cycle, so hopefully those ones get eaten first. Just be careful. I am probably going to end up doing a refugium just for that reason, due to the phosphates I have to put in there to feed them. I just don't want to dump it in the tank and then my coral suffers because of it, I have to kind of watch that. That's why I think some of that algae, that green hair algae right there to your right, is kind of growing. So I have to be careful with that, obviously. You know, I'm just doing what needs just enough to keep them alive and reproducing. Yeah, he's kind of swimming around in that corner. So far uh, the Danzel's doing okay. He hides in the rocks a lot. He's more towards the bottom of it, and it seems like the clownfish kind of hang out at top, and it kind of sucks because the only time I really let them see them relaxing and kind of hanging out is at night, which I don't know if that's a bad thing. They're just kind of, you know, swimming around, picking at food, you know, just kind of hanging out. They used to hang out towards like the mid-range of the tank, but now it seems like they mainly just hang out at the top. I just got done putting a little bit of flake food in there. They did eat. They always eat. All my fish do. And I also put these small Spectrum sinking pallets. I'm sorry. Little balls, and honestly, the small ones take a while to sink. They just have to, I guess, absorb enough water, and then they fall down and sink. Hopefully, they eat those as well. Those are a little bit more nutrition, in my opinion. A little bit more nutritious. I did give the anemone shrimp, I think it was yesterday. I gave it a mix of brine and Midas shrimp. So hopefully it's fed. I'm gonna try to wait at least a couple days. I mean, I guess you could technically feed it every other or every day, but you gotta watch it so don't poop a lot. That means you're feeding them too much. So I'm just gonna probably wait at least a day, maybe two. And I'm gonna just go ahead and kind of do this with you guys. There's no really good lighting in this corner. I don't want a lot of light focus on it or open up the window and have light on it due to the algae. But I was basically gonna test my with my refractometer, test the salinity of the water. I was gonna also test the ammonia. I recommend, honestly, everybody says to test every day. Honestly, I do not. I test every other. I probably should test every day, but it has not fluctuated. I mean, I'm waiting for, luckily I have not hit a spike or anything to really make it change. I think the biggest attribute that I've done that makes it, keeps it from doing that, I think it honestly it was a bacterial enzyme. It was called enzyme 9 or something like that. And I put the whole bottle in. It treats like 20 gallons or so. Put the whole bottle in, and I'm sure that helped when I added fish, especially me using live rock that was used as filtration for good bacteria for other aquarium. At the aquarium shop I got these from, so, you know, and plus the live sand, and then I have bio balls, so I'm doing everything I can to keep the good bacteria levels up. So that's honestly really helping with my water. So what I'm going to do here, I can show you guys, is grab the refractometer. I don't think, you're obviously not going to be able to see through there. I'm going to get a quick reading, see what we have here. I do have to step away. Well, there's a light right behind me, so. It comes, what's cool about this is it comes with these little tubes right here, these little plastic little tubes. And you can suck up a little bit of water. It has a guide. Make sure you use distilled water. Check the calibration every once in a while. I've never had mine go out of whack. I checked it when I got it. It was barely, barely off. I checked it several times, and it was, like I said, it was barely off, so it wasn't bad at all. It says 2 to 3 drops in the center, so 1, 2, 3 drops. Set that here to the side. And all you do is flip down the glass. It kind of smashes it, like if you're going to look through a microscope. This is what it looks like right here when the water gets smashed. And then I'm just going to glance real quick through the light and see what we got here. So it looks like it's at 31. So it looks like I'm at 31 parts per million. And I'm at, like, let's see, recalibrate this. Let me turn this a little bit, get a little bit better reading. It has a focus, the black part of it. You can turn it and focus it right below. So I'm at 1.024 and about 31 to 32 parts per billion. So I guess the 1.024 is the gravity, and then the other one is the 31 or 32-ish parts per million. So I'm honestly really close. I'm surprised it hasn't changed as much. Evaporation, I filled it up so much past the full mark on the side, so evaporation really hasn't affected it. I'm just gonna step over here to grab a couple paper towels. So I'm pretty happy with the numbers. I try to keep it between 1.024 and probably 25-ish. I think you want to keep it at 1.025 for coral. So I'm trying to keep it a little bit, not on the high side, but a little bit on the higher side, because I do want to add coral, and I want kind of the fish and everything to get used to the salinity and see how they're doing. I'm going to squirt this water back in here. I'll use some distilled water to rinse it. Make sure you rinse it, because if it gets built up in these, you have salt in here, it might give you an inaccurate reading, so always rinse everything that you test with. So I'll just set this one to the side so I can remember to rinse it. Go ahead and move this out of our way. I am going to do a comparison probably here in the next day or so with the hydrometer. See how close they are, what reading that one's giving me. So the Master Saltwater Kit is actually really easy to use. It comes with these small tubes, so you just simply grab any tube, because I rinse them all out. You want to fill it to the line right there. So you just simply, I just dip it in. Make sure you always rinse your hands. You don't use any harsh soaps or anything. If I absolutely have to wash my hands, I use Dawn. And then make sure you rinse it all off. I do construction, so there's oils, greases, all petroleum-based products. So Dawn is one of the best cleaners I can use on my hands. Plus, it doesn't have all that. I mean, it is kind of a soap, but it's better on wildlife than. And then make sure after you wash them, you rinse them really well, and you wipe off, everything. And then you can, or you can suck it out with one of those and squeeze it in here, however you want to do it. But I just dip it in, wipe off the excess, right to the line. Get it as close as you can to that line, because that's what it's measured. First thing I'm going to do is the ammonia. I don't memorize how many drops. I always get in here to double check. I think the ammonia is 8 drops, but I don't ever take a chance. I always look at here. So ammonia says 8 drops. Hold on a second. Let me see. Ammonia test. Yep. 8 drops of ammonia solution 1. Hold it vertically upside down until it mixes, and then 8 drops of solution number 2. And then you want to vigorously shake it for 5 seconds. So you find your solution number 1. It'll say ammonia solution 1. So let me get the right bottles. Yep, here we go. Both of these. So here's your solution number 1. You just simply count 8 drops. And make sure you hold it completely upside down, because if you hold it to the side, it kind of runs out a little bit more. Hold it perfectly upside down. Here, I'll try to do it on the camera for you guys. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm gonna do 8 drops. I put this cap. Make sure you press it all the way down and hold it, and it just basically tells you to do this, just so it mixes. You don't vigorously shake it until you add the second solution. There you go. Pop the cap off, and then you grab solution that says ammonia solution number 2. This, I think, is honestly one of the most important tests. This one will kill your fish the fastest, in my opinion. Besides salt water being too salty or whatever. Okay, so you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Whoops, 10. There we go. Solution bottle number 2. Always put the cap on and seal this. Make sure you always rinse these very thoroughly and clean all your test tubes. Some people mark them. And then for 5 seconds, I just want to basically vigorously shake this for 5 seconds. I do just a little bit longer to make sure it's mixed up really well. You want 0 parts per million is ideal. If it's anything really higher than that, can be dangerous. Keep shaking this. Okay, there we go. I just pop it, kind of let all the gas and everything escape. Put this back on. And then here is the color of the tube. There is a chart on the back of it. And you want to basically look in make sure the light doesn't change the color of it too much. But you just want to basically look at it. Ammonia is right here, sorry. Whoops, ammonia is right there. You want it, the yellow, the better. If it starts getting that really light green, it's not good. You want it at 0 parts per million, honestly. I think it's still 0 parts per million, honestly. It's maybe the slightest tint, but it wouldn't be enough to read, honestly. So ammonia is still good. The live rock filtration systems, all the bioballs, all the enzymes I added, I guess they all paid off. So I don't feed too crazy. I try to directly feed to each animal, to make sure they eat. I don't like to leave a bunch of food floating around. I just got done feeding them flakes, and there's maybe a couple pieces floating around. Just give them a little bit, let them eat it. Just give them a little bit. Don't be one of those folks that just dump a crap ton of food in there. I understand if you want to, in the beginning, maybe add a little bit of extra food for the, now this can take up to 5 minutes. Sorry, I sidetracked. This can take up to 5 minutes. So I like to set them here to the side while I do the next test. The only other one, pH has been good, is around 8. I just tested it not that long. I'm trying to think, what test did I do? We can do the pH test real quick. So let's grab the pH bottle. Last time I tested it, it was in good range. It was about 8.4, between 8.2 to 8.4, where you want it at. You don't want it too low and you don't want it too high. Salt water, I know for fresh water you want it a lot lower than 8.4, but for salt water it's okay. So that's the tricky part, is getting it right to that line. I know a lot of people like to use those little things that I use, that salt water, to kind of squirt it in. I guess that makes it easier sometimes, so I just like doing it this way. Wipe off all the excess water off the tube. There's some fresh water to test. And then I always refer back to this to make sure my drops amount right, because if you have the wrong amount of drops, it completely messes up the test. So high PS you do 5 drops of it. You just mix it by moving it up and down, inverted or whatever. So we're gonna do 5 drops. So you take the cap off, make sure you get the right one. It says high range pH. And then we do 5. Hold it direct upside down. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Done. Put the cap back on here and tighten it up. There we go. Put it right here. And then just basically do this. You don't want to vigorously shake this one. It just says to keep holding it. Just basically let it mix a little bit. You don't need to shake it all crazy. This one can take up to 5 minutes. All of them, I would give them at least 5 minutes or so, in case, something took a little bit longer to register. Then you take it to your chart. And that looks like, honestly, in my opinion, it's probably, the light kind of throws it off. I'd say it's probably 8.0 or so. Somewhere in this range. So that looks good. That's a good color. Like I said, I always leave it to the side for a minute. So I've been testing this water, from the initial setup, and if you just, have the proper filtration, the proper flow, plenty of live rock filtration, you add a bioenzyme or something to help it. I mean, it's as long as you always check them, make sure they don't spike and don't add a crazy amount of fish at once, you should be fine, honestly. This BioCube works pretty well. It's not for a bunch of fish and a bunch of livestock. This is for maybe 4 or 5 fish tops and then coral. So it's mainly designed for coral, honestly. If you want fish, especially most saltwater fish get pretty big, so I can't have so many different kinds of species that I wanted. I have to basically stick with clownfish. I only get about 3 inches. Danzo gets about 3 to 4 inches, about 3 inches or so, 3.5, maybe 4. The dragonet gets about 3.5, 4. So, everything is gonna stay within that size range. So, maybe in the future, you never know, I might get a bigger tank. But everything's still looking good. The pH is still looking good. The ammonia still looks yellowish. Maybe so tiny bit of green, if that. It is approaching the end of the cycle, so I could do a water change and have it perfect. You don't want any ammonia though. You'll see the green in it, I'm sure. You can look at the chart. I mean, you'll see the green come in there and then just get pretty dark quickly. Anything, I think, in one part can kill your fish. I'm pretty sure, you want it at 0. So, in my opinion, I think we're starting to get a little bit of green, ever so slightly. If you look in the light, it still has that yellowish tint. It might be a quarter parts per million, if that, maybe less. So, I'd say definitely by next week I will be changing the water. So that'll guarantee that it'll go back to 0. There's some other information in here on the back of this. It tells you, marine saltwater aquarium diagnostic chart. So it tells you, fish diseases, what it'll look like, what levels go up for what causes it, coral disease, low calcium, what it would look like on your charts. I mean, this is pretty useful. There it goes, it's focusing. That's really, really useful. So kind of read that. Number one thing is be careful what you see and read on the internet. This is just my observation and my opinion. I try to do the best to inform you, but I'm not a professional. A lot of guys out there claim to be, that they know everything, and honestly, they don't. And I've seen so many things that are just not right. Honestly, everything I've told you is the best knowledge that I obtained. So take that. Always still do your research. Make sure you find. You gotta be careful with. Blogs and other things where you post and forums and stuff. Go to somewhere that's trustworthy. Read some reviews on them. Look at their tank, see what their tank looks like. I mean, there's just ways to always check and always be very vigilant about that. I guess I do need to do a nitrite. I need to do a nitrate test, just because of the simple fact that I do feed quite a bit of food. It was starting to kind of climb a little bit last time. Here, let's fill it up this way with this thing. I'm gonna try see if this is easier. So you just stick it in here, fill it up, squirt it in there. Wow, that is really easy. If I had a bigger one, he would have already probably filled it. Oh wow, only 2 so far and a partial. Yeah, you get it. Okay, I can see why people use that. One shot right to the line. So that's the easier way. If something's easier, I'll do it that way. Make sure you read the instructions very carefully on this one. Shaking it and mixing it is the most important part on this test. It has a few different languages in this book, which is nice. Nitrate. Here we go. We got to do 10 drops So we gotta get clean that sample, 5 milliliters. 10 drops of the number 1 solution, completely holding it vertical, uniform, cap. Okay, and then vigorously shake the number 2, and then for 30 seconds, and then a minute for the results. Okay. So yeah, so what you simply do is you grab your first bottle. Does not really need any shaking or anything. Grab your very first bottle. You want to do 10 drops of this solution right here. So 10 drops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Don't freak out if you hit the wall, it still slides down it. Just make sure you get it in there. Put this cap on. Go ahead and tighten these up. I like to close them as soon as I can. So I put the cap on. I like to keep it pressed because these can get loose around here. And I just basically do this. There we go. And then this other bottle, before you can even add any drops, you shake the actual bottle for 30 seconds continuously. And then once you add 10 drops, you have to shake the tube for a minute. This is very important because this will affect your results. So it is very important to shake it like it says. Where's the other codfish at? See, they're starting to explore a little bit. I think when I first got the damsel, they were kind of upset about it. But where is he at? Okay, he's down by the black wall on the backside. Okay. That dragonet is so beautiful. Probably my favorite fish, honestly. I wish I could tell how much he's eating, like, by his stomach. He looks a little skinny. I just really want him to eat a lot and do really well in this tank. That should do it. Pop this off. It is Halloween, so I will be passing out candy at my residence. I'm excited. Gonna have the nephew over, so it's gonna be good times. Okay, set this here. Then we're also gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. Then we go ahead and put the cap on this one. Now this is what's going to take a minute of continuous shaking. So here we go. You do not want to stop shaking this for an entire minute. It looks like he's doing pretty good then, enemy. He was closed up, you know, crawling underneath the rocks and stuff, but he seems to be okay. He didn't like when I moved him, especially. He got really upset. I know it's probably easier to move off the glass of the credit card, but you gotta be careful because the rocks, the way they're indented and stuff, you can hurt the trunk really easily. So let's see what colors we need. Here's a chart for trying. Wow, and get all the way to 160 parts per million. You want this honestly as low as possible as well. It's gonna be a little bit, maybe 5-10 parts, but you want to change it pretty often, honestly. You know, that little silly crab. He's like picking some stuff off the bottom of the rock. I just want to make sure this is mixed up really well. Okay. Here is the result. Here it is. It's honestly maybe 5 to 10 parts per million. See, what's crazy is why I love the cleanup crew. This was honestly between 10 and 20. Yeah, it was honestly between 10 and 20. about 2 days ago, 2.5 days ago, about 2 to 3 days ago, it was between 10 and 20. Now it's more like 10. Or between 10 and 5. And why that is your cleanup crew is I think the cleanup crew, the algae, something is consuming it, or I don't know. Good filtration, maybe. Maybe the test was inaccurate last time, I don't know. But to me, it seems like it's about 10 parts per million. So that's not bad. That's not going to hurt anything. Honestly, I would change it. I'm going to change it here in about a week anyway, so it's not going to be at any range where it's going to hurt anything. You know, this is going to drop this level of ammonia in your nitrate will drop with the water change in your nitrite. That's actually what plants consume, and then it turns into some other things consume, and it can turn into the other. I don't do too many tests of the nitrate I do, but nitrite I don't. I could probably test that, but it's been staying at pretty much 0 parts per million. It's a really nice test. It says all the languages right here: English, French, Spanish, and either Chinese or Japanese. I'm not sure which one. But it's a really nice test. Like I said, just like the other ones, you do want to wait a little bit. No, it's still, I'd say, probably between about 10 to 15, maybe tops. So it's not bad. I do feed quite a bit of shrimp and food and stuff. That's the only reason it's even close to that. If I were just to dump a bunch of food in there, it'd be much higher than that. So I'll usually leave it for a few minutes out, and then I come back and check it again. But that's pretty much it. So that's how you check it. I'm excited to try out some of my other equipment, especially my new gravel vac. Not new, well, I haven't used it yet, but it's a newer gravel vacuum. I'm excited about that. I do have 2 buckets. What I didn't mention last time, part of my overview video, I have 2 buckets. A clean bucket where I mix salt and stuff, and then a waste bucket where it's whatever I suck out of the tank. So I did forget to mention that last time. So that's pretty much it, testing and kind of testing the waters and basically making sure everything's okay, everything looks good for now. Water change will be next week, so that will be even better. So just keep your eyes on that, especially if you've never had fish before. Test every day. If you're a little more experienced and you feel, it's still recommended to test every day. Take 5-10 minutes of your time to do that, and then you'll be good to go. I went a little slower. I apologize, I was talking about other things. I'll try to shorten up these videos a little bit. Look at him. He's hunting right now. Another thing they said to notice, see how you just picked right there? He just got one of the ticker pods. So he's always hunting. It's pretty cool. But anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching. This is a new channel, so if you do, I do have quite a few hobbies. If you are interested in RC hobby, such as airplanes, boats, motor cars, nitros, drones, stuff like that, I do have, and other things like RC Cincy extras, like scooters and cool stuff like that, and unique stuff. Check out RC Cincy, RC and then CINCY. That's my other channel. That's for radio control stuff. That's a really fun hobby, so I do have that channel as well. Don't forget to check that out. If you enjoy these videos, please like and subscribe. If I got you any information, feel free to comment below. Just keep it family friendly. And I think that's going to do it for this video. So I want to thank you guys for watching. See you later.